Well, the first thing I think you need to understand is that these people that you're comparing yourself to, you don't really know very well. You know, and what that means is that you see their shiny outside, but you don't see the reality of their life. You know, maybe you're in California, see someone speeding down the road in a convertible Porsche, and you think, oh man, what a lucky bastard. And the truth of the matter is that he's thinking about wrapping his expensive sports car around the next cement pillar that he comes close to. You know, you can't tell, and people have hard lives, and even people who are comparatively fortunate have hard lives. And so the ideal that you're observing that makes you jealous and resentful is in large part an illusion that's created by your own mind.
Many of us think we're holy. We think we're good people. You know why? You compare yourself with others. Compared to this guy, I'm better. Compared to that politician, I'm better. Excuse me. You compare yourself with God. And you begin to see, I am a sinner.
We live in a time where everybody wants to be a public figure. We live in a time, and please don't get mad at me for saying this, where even people who have a private account spend their whole lives posting stuff and commenting on stuff to create an image and a projection of a reality that may bear no resemblance. The awkward golf claps really helped me, I appreciate that. To the reality of their situation. And Jesus's brothers pull him aside and say, we've got a great idea. Why don't you show the world who you really are? The interesting thing about the text, and I'm gonna give this to you quick because the nexus of this text is in verse 5. It says that even Jesus' brothers did not believe in him. And since they didn't believe, they were trying to get him to perform. Anytime you have unbelief in your heart, it will cause you to try to perform to prove something that you don't really believe. In psychological terms, it's called the fraudulence complex, or some call it the imposter syndrome. And it speaks about how many of us have an inability to internalize our strengths and our accomplishments. Psychologists call it the imposter syndrome because they say that many of us secretly, deep down, feel like we're a fraud. Many of us secretly, deep down, feel like we have so much less to offer than what people expect. And that even when people compliment us, we figure that the reason that they're complimenting us is because they don't really see us for who we are. And if they ever saw us for who we are, if they ever saw how stupid we feel, if they ever saw how inexperienced we feel, if they really saw how nervous we really feel, they would kick us out the room. It happens to fathers, it happens to mothers, it happens to leaders, it happens to teenagers. It is the fear of being found out to be less than they thought you were. It is the fear that keeps you in a performance mode. It is the fear that keeps you spending money to look like something important because deep down you're afraid that you're really not. It is the fear that keeps you overcompensating, and you get in situations, and rather than letting other people be the center of attention, you feel the need to overcompensate to show how intelligent you are, because deep down you don't feel intelligent enough. So people think you're cocky, but you're really not cocky. You're scared with the conflict between who they think you're supposed to be and who you feel like you really are. It's called the imposter syndrome. It means that sometimes, even as I'm trying to fulfill my purpose, I feel like a fake. It's not that I'm a hypocrite. It's not that I'm insincere. It's just that deep down inside, I'm a man who sometimes feels like a little boy. I'm a preacher who sometimes feels like a sinner. I want to be wise, but sometimes I feel like a fool. And I'm wondering, is there anybody here who lately has been up under the pressure of an expectation? And sometimes the pressure that we feel to be special does not come from God. It comes from culture, who tells you that You've got to be so special, so different, so unique, so set apart, but you already are. You already are. You already are. I already am set apart. Jesus, if you go down to Judea, you could show them who you are. You could show them who you are. I don't need to show them. I know. When you live out of that place, it affects you to be able to do it for purpose and not for proof. Because really, who are you trying to prove it to? I mean, whoever you're trying to prove something to isn't paying attention, because they're trying to prove it to somebody who's not paying attention. And they're proving it to someone who's not paying attention. And so while we're busy posting to each other our results to prove to one another what we're worth, our purpose is dying in the place of our insecurities.